everyone, I'm Katie Polski. I'm a member of the Rooted Steering Committee and glad to be able to talk with you for a few minutes today about the promises of God in the midst of our fears. I remember last year my husband sitting on the deck and calling me out to come and join him, but he called me in kind of a frantic way saying, "You got to come now, you got to come now, there's something I want you to see, it's really cool." So I ran out and expected to see a really cool sunset or something like that, but what he wanted to show me was a spider. You have to understand, I hate spiders. I hate them. I can handle a snake, but a spider, I can't do. In fact, just the immediate glimpse of the spider made me put my hands over my face, and I literally put my head in my lap, and I refused to move. I held myself really tight because there was something in me that said the spider was going to get me, and it was a big spider. I was fearful of it. Fear is not something new, right? It's something that we have experienced even from early on as children. We're afraid of the dark. We're afraid something is going to happen bad. Fear right now is even more prevalent. We don't know what's going to happen. This virus is new. Fear is a theme in our days. The reality is we live in a broken world. It's okay to have fear. That's going to happen. It's also okay and good to name that fear. That's a healthy thing to do. But what's important to remember is that God has given us promises in His Word that speak into our fears, that comfort us in the midst of our fears, and that give us security that says and reminds us that He is in control of all things, even when we don't understand it. There are three of those promises that I want to share with you today. The first promise comes from 1 John 3:1, and it says this: "See what great love the Father has lavished on us, that we should be called children of God." That promise to us says that God's love for us is immeasurable. There is nothing that can separate you from the love of God. There is no hardship, there is no suffering, there is no amount of questions that you can have that will separate you from God's love. And there is no suffering or hardship that is void of it. God's love is immeasurable. He loves His children more than we can ever understand. And that gives us reason to hope in the midst of our fears. Secondly, Proverbs 19:21 says, "Many are the plans in the mind of a man, but it is the purpose of the Lord that will stand." This promise for us as believers is that God's purpose will prevail. We can rest in that. We can be assured of that. My plan for today was not to be in quarantine and to be fearful of a new virus, but God's plan will prevail. God's plan for today, for tomorrow, and for every day to come is perfect. His plan is there for us to see His glory and for Him to work in our lives for our good. We can rest instead of worry in knowing that His plan stands firm now and forevermore. Thirdly, 1 Peter 5 is a precious promise. It says this: "Cast all your anxieties on Him because He cares for you." What is the promise there? It's that God's power is sufficient. And I love this verse because it doesn't say just toss your worries over to Jesus or just slide them toward His side. It says cast all your anxieties on Him. That word cast means to forcefully throw. Forcefully throw every anxiety, every worry that you have onto Jesus. He wants them. He will receive them, and He's powerful enough to do so. He says, "Come to me, all ye who are heavy burdened, and I will give you rest." Cast your anxieties on Jesus. He wants to show you how much He loves you in the midst of them, and His power can consume our fears. When I was sitting on the deck with my head in my lap, I finally relented, and through kind of the slits of my fingers, I put my head up to look because my husband kept saying, "It's so cool, it's so cool." And what I saw was remarkable. The spider, which held all my fear, kind of became a sideshow to the web that he was creating. The web was beautiful, it was large, it was intricate, and it was amazing. I still had the fear of the spider, but it wasn't central. It moved to the side when I was able to see the beauty that surrounded it. This is how God's promises are for us in the midst of our fears. God says, see me, trust in me, and in that there is beauty to behold.